Hi team, this is just a super quick video on how to set up a grid spacing ruler, just because I've been getting a couple of questions about it and I figured it would be good to have a video as a resource. But as you can see, we're just going in with an offcut from one of my previous journal pages, and this offcut is the same vertical length as my page. Because it came out of an A5 journal, it is perfectly sized to work as a grid spacing ruler. And the first thing I'm going to do is on one side of the page, on the very edge of the paper, write the numbers 1 through 38 down that side. These numbers are going inside the grid boxes, they're not going between the grid dots, just so that I can very easily line those boxes up with the grid boxes that are on my pages. Once the numbers are in, we're then going to go and put in my dividers. I'm going to use a half divider. This half line sits between the number 19 and the number 20, because that's the vertical halfway mark in my journal. So 19 boxes on either side, 1 to 19 on one of them, and then 20 to 38 on the other. The next division I'm going to do are the thirds marks, and each third of the page is going to be 12 boxes. But you may realize that 12 plus 12 plus 12 is 36, not 38, so we're actually going to have one row of boxes between each of those thirds. So the lines are going to go in between 12 and 13, we're going to have another line between 13 and 14, and then for the lower two thirds, the division is between 25 and 26, and then 26 and 27. Hopefully you can see what I mean by the visuals as well. This gives us the 3-page segments though, so 12 boxes for each of them, 1 to 12, 14 through to 25, and then 27 to 38. So leaving row 13 and row 26 blank. I'm also putting in the quarters, and you may recognize that 38 doesn't divide nicely by 4, so when I put my quarter marks in, I'm actually going to leave the top 2 rows open. That could effectively be like a header for the page, and each of those quarters are 4.5 centimeters or 9 boxes down. So in terms of divider lines for the quarters, we're going to put a line between 2 and 3 for that header bar, a line between 11 and 12 for the first quarter, a line between 20 and 21 for the second quarter, and then a line between 29 and 30 to separate the last 2 quarters. You can of course put other divisions in here. Other ones that I've previously used include things like sevenths for when I'm trying to set up a weekly and I want 7 sections down the page. But flipping over, we're also going to set up the horizontal grid spacing guide. Rather than numbering this one the entire way across, because we only have 26 spaces going horizontally in my notebook, we're just going to number 1 through 26. Once those numbers are in though, we can put in those divisions again. For this one, I'm just going to put in the halves and the thirds, because those are the common sizes that I like to use when setting up my journal. The halfway mark is going to go between 13 and 14. We'll just mark that in with a black line. And then for the third marks, again, you may know that 26 does not divide nicely by 3, but 24 does. So we're going to put a grey line between 8 and 9. We're then going to put another grey line between 9 and 10, so setting up those spaces that go between each of these thirds. And then the last 2 lines we have to put in are between 17 and 18, and then 18 and 19. This gives us 3 equally sized spaces, each of those being 4 centimeters across, or 8 dot grid boxes, and we've got 1 column of space between each of those thirds. Hopefully this has been helpful. Was just a quick one to explain how to set up a ruler like this. And if you wanted to hear more about grid spacing guides and how you can use them and set them up in your journal, then the video we have on screen here is going to be super helpful. I'll see you over there.